All right, welcome again, everybody. This is your show. Should I call it a show? Should I call it a channel? I don't know anymore, because this is going to be entertaining, guys. But this is just the beginning stages of this channel, which is Chess with Luton Vazwe. You are chilling with your boy, Chess Luton Vazwe. And again, I have another game for you, game number 6 of the series that we have been busy with, which is the Steinitz Chess Festival 2024. Crazy game where I played like a drunken master with my king being in the center. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know what was happening as well. I mean, this is the final round, and this is the round that will determine who is going to be the prize winner of the tournament. All I need in this round is a draw, but the moment that um, somebody gets to win, except for me, then that means that if I lose the game, then that means that I'll have to fight with the other players for tie breaks. It's crazy how I played. So anyway, let me just show you the game without further ado so that you can see what type of chess I was playing. So you can see that the game started off as an English opening, but I tried to get out of the English since I was not really well prepared for it. So knight f3, d6, d4. And the opening is still fine. Knight b to d7 is played. This is the way that you usually play these type of setups. So bishop onto e2, and here I start to invent, if I can use that word. So pawn takes on d4, and the idea that I have here is that I am going to sort of put pressure on the e pawn. Only after I played the queen onto e7 did I realize that in fact he can just ignore this whole thing that I'm trying to do and put his rook on e1 because my king is still in the center. It goes without saying, like, okay, fine. So now bishop onto g4 is played, and already I am sensing that I am in trouble because e5 is played, and this type of move sort of blows the game wide open, especially since the queen is still on e7 and the king is still on e8, and I still have how many moves before I castle? Uh, yeah, it's like 3 moves in order to castle. So yeah, pawn takes e5, knight takes e5, and knight onto e6, trying to cover the e file, and I refuse some exchanges of the pieces, which also was a bad idea because now it compounds the problem, especially with the bishop getting to f3. So immediately you can see knight onto c6 threatened, along with bishop takes c6, which would actually gain the rook on a8. So here I played queen onto c7. So I thought about the move rook onto d8, but after that move, the move queen onto a4, followed by knight onto d5, and I was really, afraid of this sequence. Point number one. Also, point number two is that there is as well knight onto c6, and after you take b takes c6, then the bishop takes, and the king being boxed in by its own pieces means that there will be some material that I'd have to lose. So already the lines are not looking very good. So queen onto c7 played, trying to just um, what's the word, solidify the c6 point, or trying to balance it, that type of thing. I forgot the word that I'm looking for. Okay, so yeah, the game just restarted itself, which is crazy. So yeah, so here we are. Queen onto c7 played, and queen onto a4. And here I make a decision to actually move the king. Basically, what's happening is that this is threatened. This is threatened as well. Knight onto d5 is threatened, and yeah, it's a lot to deal with, particularly since the king is still in the center. I mean, if you try moves like bishop d6, they don't work so well because knight onto d5, knight takes d5, c takes d5. You can see that because I cannot take there, the knight would have to move, and eventually the e file will be blown wide open, as I had mentioned already. So yeah, instead of that, I decided to move the king, and yeah, this is the start of some difficult moves. So bishop e3, of course, to get the rook on d1 in the central square. Bishop onto d6, trying to defend, as well as attacking the knight on e5. but attacking the knight is not really the main point of the move. So rook on a to d1, pinning, and the king moves again, king onto e7. So basically the king is in the center and is trying as much as possible to actually survive. But looked at my opponent and I saw that he was struggling as well to see what type of moves he can actually generate so that he can punish um, the position, and he has to act very quickly because if the rook should get to e8 and the king should get to f8 and the king should tuck itself on g8, should be a very good game for me. So yeah, bishop onto f4 is played with the idea that I can't take on f4 because there are discoveries with knight onto g6. So what does he play here? I played rook onto d8, trying to get the king out, and yeah, I was anticipating the move c5, which was going to give me a bit of problems, but with the rook on d8, I can escape with this move rook takes on d1, because otherwise I would be in a bit of trouble if the queen should move now. There's a lot that's going to happen. I think I'd have to give up material, but rook on to d1 at least is a saving move since it threatens checkmate. Bishop takes on d1, and now queen onto d7 moves away, bishop d6 check, king moves onto d8, queen a5, and here I'm supposed to actually stick to the center still. This allows me, some safety, even though the position is difficult, but I went on the wrong side, which is king onto c8. And now basically here it's game over. But my opponent doesn't, spot the important move that he's supposed to play here. He plays h3, trying to just balance the position. But here, lights out. Knight onto a4 is dead, with the idea that knight onto b6 is going to be played, and I lose the rook on e8. And, there's also mating threats as well, since the king does not have any squares available to itself because the dark squares are kept. So basically that would have been a loss for myself there. But unfortunately, my opponent, thank you to him, didn't see the move, and he played the move h3. So I played b6, trying to get the king a bit into safety by trying to exchange the queens as well. And queen onto a3 is played. And here I ran a few moves before I played this move, bishop onto d3. The first idea I was thinking about is, okay, I'm aware that the bishop is coming to a2 to go to a6 to try and, get my queen, which is on b7. So I need to generate some ideas. So the first idea that I had was to play the move knight onto d7 with the idea to capture on c5. If bishop goes to e2 here, then knight goes to c5, knight takes c5, and the knight takes c5. And basically that means that the knight is protecting the a6 point. But unfortunately, the move b4 actually would win for him, because after knight onto d3, trying to block that point again, rook onto d1, and yeah, I think the game is practically lost here. Perhaps I might try to defend, but I mean, after queen onto a6, this should be very, very easy for him. So yeah, going back, I decided, let's play bishop onto d3, avoiding the bishop from entering onto the e2 square. And here I could feel that my opponent is a bit restless, because now after knight onto d5, I played the move queen onto a6, protecting the bishop, and also the queen is challenging the other queen to exchange. And he couldn't find any other moves here, so he played knight check, king came again into the center, and bishop onto f3, attacking on c6. And luckily, I had a defensive resource, which was knight onto d4. And here I have a very good position, but since I was really defending the entire game, I just decided, hey, let's call it quits. So he offered a draw in this position, and I gladly accepted. After that game, which would have turned out to be a huge disaster, a draw actually was agreed. So that meant that in terms of first prize, I was safe. So I won a whopping 4 grand because of that. The Drunken Master King in the center. but at least I made it through to first place. So yeah, that was the end of the Steinitz. I made a lot of mistakes all throughout the games, but at least some lessons learned. One was the fact that I had to be more properly prepared for opening play. Secondly, number two, I should not be lazy in calculating variations, especially when the time allows. And number three, I think the policy of conserving time in some cases was actually very good, but in another case, it actually backfired a bit. It caused me to learn a habit which was unnecessarily complicating my tournament gameplay in some variations. So yeah, but generally it was a good tournament overall. Okay, guys, again, there's going to be some more content. I'll be doing some more game coverages. The SA Closed is there, the Cape Town Open is there, and the Cape Town Masters as well is there. So I'll be doing a lot of coverage in the subsequent weeks. So do check that out. And yeah, like and subscribe. Not only that, again, we will be having our WhatsApp group chats with Luton Vazwe. So make sure that you're on that group and send those voice notes, send those texts as well. We'll be seeing you there. Thank you very much, guys. And yes, have a good day further. Cheers.